Don't mind us. We're just having a moment here. Okay, how about that for some entry music here? This is Pickup Lines, presented by Gamez Law Firm and Integrity Roofing and Siding with Alfredo Segura Jr. He is, among other things, as we'll find out in just a little while, the CEO and president of New Frontiers Public Schools. And we'll end the suspense right now because the entrance song that you just heard was sung by none other than this guy. You sang that.
I did.
So
it was under a stage name, but yes, that is.
But it was your voice.
That's
It was
right.
literally your voice. I think in all my years of doing pickup lines, that's the first time I've ever had a guest sing us in to start a show. So what's the name of the song?
She Drove Me Crazy.
She Drove Me Crazy. But we're not going to say if that was inspired by anybody in particular.
We will leave that to the imagination.
Very smart. Very smart. Well, thank you for doing that, by the way. I appreciate that. Very good. So, no, we are here not to talk about his singing career, but we're here to talk about New Frontiers Public Schools, and we appreciate you supporting the show, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. This is a pleasure as always, and great seeing you again.
Indeed. So he's an accomplished educator, administrator, and we're going to get into all of that here in just a little bit. But I always like to start kind of at the beginning, where you grew up and where you went to high school, and when much younger Alfredo, what was he like?
Oh my gosh. Geez, as you can see by the gray hair, I got to go and dig pretty deep for that answer. But I am the proud son of Alfredo and Juanita Segura. I was born in Cotulla, Texas, and I went to elementary, middle school, and high school. So born and bred Texan.
Love it. I think I was just in Cotulla the other day when we were, because it's going toward Laredo, right?
That's correct.
We went to Laredo over the weekend with Ray Feo, and I drove through Cotulla a couple of times. But so you grew up there, but decided ultimately not to stay there. So what brought you to San Antonio?
Yeah, ultimately, seeking higher education. So right after high school, I came to San Antonio, went to Our Lady of the Lake University, studied there, and decided to dabble in business for a little bit, and then decided to seek higher education. So then I went into the education side of things.
Got it. So you grew up with your parents migrant workers, or you
Yes.
grew up in that with that lifestyle, or that in your family?
Yeah, and before I guess I answered that's kind of what is defining me, or what defined me into doing what I do. Because yes, my parents were migrant workers, and so not only did we leave the school system early, so I missed obviously education, and then we came a little late, so I missed that as well. And so I grew up knowing the importance of school, and so that was something that while I was in business first, in finance,
Right.
I was kind of doing that for myself, and I felt that I needed to do something different where we elevate our community.
Did your parents have a full education, or
No.
was that ingrained in you at a very young age?
That was ingrained in me at a very, very young age. And so my mother and father did not have, obviously, the privilege to finish their high school. Very, very smart people, but yet they didn't get an opportunity because they were working out the field.
It's beyond their control. Beyond their control.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And here you are, and so you figured, like you said, you kind of parlayed that experience into, you knew it was going to be education one way or the other.
Yes, absolutely. So I remember trying to, what am I going to do next?
Right.
And so the opportunities of charter schools came available, and I actually started my career in actually teaching music, as you can see.
Yeah,
but,
I can see
kind of the correlation there. And then I went through the whole motion of knowing the compliance side of that, the administration, kind of holistically, which now leads to my position as the CEO and superintendent of New Frontiers Public Schools.
So let's talk about, I guess, New Frontiers, if you will. How would you explain New Frontiers Public Schools? How would you explain it to somebody who's never heard of it, not familiar with what you do, and kind of the role that you guys play?
Yeah, so we are a charter school. So for those, let's start there. So for folks that are listening, maybe don't know exactly what a charter school, even in this day and age. So charter schools were established back in 1995. We were established in 1998.
Okay.
And so we are what's called a Generation 2 charter, which means that we get the privilege of running this school side of things by the State Board of Education in 1998. And so when we were blessed to do that in 1998, we've been, so this makes it our, going on 26 years.
20, yeah, I was saying.
26 years, if my math's correct.
Yeah.
So 26 years, when we started, we basically started as to provide an alternative setting where perhaps maybe those students that did not fit in quite in the box of the regular ISD, we wanted to basically come in and work with the ISDs and kind of work with them. If a student was not successful, come to us. You know, we'll give you a shot, and vice versa.
Yeah.
That fast forward to now, just like any business, you start looking at that. What are we doing now? There's many more choices.
Right, sure.
And so within the last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, we kind of have been morphing into what we are now, which is college ready. So we like to say that we actually are the first to do an early college high school in partnership with Palo Alto College.
Yeah.
So if you want to know about what our mission basically is we're providing an opportunity for those that are seeking higher education.
Yeah, and it is so key, I think, because, you know, in my experience, just talking to parents and just being in the news over the years, I think there are a lot of parents that just have no idea about charter schools through no fault of their own, or they think they cost a lot of money, or they think that they have to live geographically in a certain part. Oh, I can't go over there because I live here, and they don't realize that there are places like New Frontiers that are out there, and like you said, campus might not be the right fit for your son or daughter, but you guys might be the place.
Absolutely. And that is our core belief. We believe that education should not be defined by a zip code. Regardless of where you live, now you have multiple choices.
Yeah.
And parents are getting smarter because, again, that is a privilege that I think is owed to everybody. That's just my belief. Where if you can get yourself kind of a leg up, for example, what we do, our students are earning college credit. It's a little different than dual credit. We'll talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
But early college is what we call a designation. That designation comes specifically from the Texas Education Agency once that is given to you. We seek that every year, and it is based on accountability. So we're talking some big words here, but
Sure.
accountability plays a big role in whether they're going to give you that designation to operate such a campus. For us, because we're early college high school, it is very rigorous. And so when parents come in, and of course our students, we sit them down and we tell them that this is going to be very rigorous, because basically when you're looking at a 4-year high school, we're actually cramming 6 years, because 2 of those years are for their associates.
That's remarkable. It really is. But so when people think of like a traditional high school, are there extracurricular activities? Are there sports? Are those kinds of things exist?
So if the quick answer is absolutely,
Yes.
there is.
Yes.
What makes us different and unique, I think, is while we are very small, we're not going to have a football team, we're not going to have a band necessarily. Right. So if you want those type of traditional experiences, then of course the ISD is probably better, suited for you.
Yeah.
If you are looking to get a leg up for a college opportunity, our kids, when you talk about extracurricular activities, not only do we offer sports, we offer the fine arts like music, mariachi, and so forth, but it is in collaboration with ACD in Alamo Community District.
Right.
So for us, the Palo Alto one, that's one of our campuses located. So our students can do co-ed sports and co-ed fine arts. As a matter of fact, we actually, I think it was last year, we had 1 or 2 kiddos that actually were featured in theater, in their theater group.
Okay.
The professors didn't even know they were college kids.
Fine arts. Love the
or
fine
high school
arts.
kids.
Yeah, no, but that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I have a place in my heart for the theater kids and the ones that like to talk and act and do those kinds of things. So, I wonder what you think about the value of an education now, as opposed to 25 years ago when these schools came about. I had a conversation with somebody the other day who was talking about what a 4-year degree meant when I was growing up, as opposed to now, or that if maybe 30 years ago, if you got a 2-year associate's, you might have been frowned upon, like, oh, you only got an associate's, oh, you only went to a trade school.
Right.
Obviously, that's not the case anymore,
Right.
which I think is fantastic. But how do you think that's kind of changed what you do over the years?
So I think education itself has elevated who we are, right?
Yeah.
So while years ago, high school, that industry back then there was a lot of manufacturing jobs that were poised to get you that right out of high school. As we elevated ourselves and we grew year over year, then it's almost as if your associates and your bachelor's degree were required, and so that's where I think we come in, us being New Frontiers. I don't know if you've heard of the 60 by 30 plan that the state of Texas has.
Heard a little bit about it, yeah.
But basically, that 60% of our post-secondary partners would be offering those post-secondary degrees by 2030.
Okay.
And so for us, we want to be part of that solution, which is why we started the early college program about 10, 12 years ago.
Right. I mean, so New Frontiers, I mean, it's a very appropriate name.
That's right.
What you're doing. Is there such thing as a typical student at New Frontiers, if you were to describe him or her?
Yeah. So when we look, I've gone to the campuses, of course, and when I start looking at these kiddos, when I start having an interaction, let me answer it this way. So if you can imagine, when we were in high school,
right?
So going into a typical New Frontiers high school, early college, because we're co-located. So our motto is that you're co-located at a college campus. So you're not at a high school, you are at a college campus. Your fall semester, you're trying to figure out things, right?
Yeah.
Because not only are you a high school kid, but now you're a college kid. By the spring of that freshman year, I don't care who you go and talk to, they're going to tell you what they want to do, how they want to do it, and they're also challenging the status quo because we want to make sure that critical thinking is instilled in them. So you can see that is a typical early college high school where one can go over by the time that they're junior, senior years and they're putting their application into whatever university. And it's funny because a little story real quick.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of students put in their applications and they got in, and when they're face to face with the academic counselor at the universities and they're saying, well, these credits don't transfer, they will challenge him and say, yes.
Yeah.
And this is why. And they'll pretty much tell you X, Y, and Z.
Right.
We're very proud of that, and that's your typical student.
And, I mean, these are, 16, 17, 18-year-olds?
Yeah, I think of myself at that age. I don't think I was, one, that articulate, and two, probably looking for that.
No to all. And certainly I wasn't either. But it's just so cool that these things are possible now and available and happening right now.
And I think it's possible, obviously, because of the partnership that we have. So I do want to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Flores, who is now the chancellor.
Yeah.
When we did our very, very first early college high school, Dr. Flores was the president of Palo Alto. And so he allowed us that opportunity, and that has yielded us to go and move forward. And
Love it.
So we have some other ones in the work that I can't say, but we do have one more that we're actually looking at to possibly have 3 partnerships with colleges.
I love it. This is Alfredo Segura, Jr. with the New Frontiers Public Schools. He's the CEO and the president, and I was just about to ask you if you think this is a model that will continue to grow. I think you kind of already answered that, but it's obviously effective and showing some positive results.
I think the model will continue. The difference, again, between, let's say, us as an early college high school and just say a regular school. Regular schools also have dual credit. So the difference, to go back, what that means is obviously you can still be a high school kid, whether you're junior or senior. You can go and take credits at a college, provided that your district allows you to,
Right.
And get those dual credit. The difference for us is that, again, we do have the designation very specifically in a pathway to allow you to have and earn that associate's. Now, I do want to say, for all of y'all that are listening, and those of you, this is an opportunity to seek and get that associate's, but the opportunity is what we provide. Having the grit, las ganas, as we like to say,
sure.
It obviously on the student and the family to make sure that you endure that 4 year, but basically the work of 6 years.
It's a lot of education being packed into a few years,
A lot.
but it sounds like it's working. But it's a nonprofit, right?
Yes. So, interesting you say that.
Because you wear multiple hats.
Yes, absolutely. So we are a nonprofit first.
Yes.
And the whole reason how that comes to be is because we are basically a creature developed by the legislature back again in 1995.
Right.
For us, 1998. And so because you have to be a nonprofit to carry what's called a 501c3.
Right, sure.
That's what a nonprofit is.
Yep.
Once that is, then you can do multiple businesses. So for us, the only business right now that we're doing is early college or school systems.
Okay. But plans to continue growing and...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sky's the limit. One of the beauty of having a nonprofit is that you can branch off and do many multiple things. We're looking at a foundation right now as well, entertaining that idea.
Very good. Okay. So if people want to find out more, by the way, there is a website, newfrontierspublicschools.org. If you want to find out more about what Alfredo's talking about here, newfrontierspublicschools.org. If you are joining us a few minutes late here, you missed the very beginning off the top. We had intro music. Maybe for the first time ever on Pickup Lines. Certainly the first time it was original music, and it was sung by none other than our guest here today. And so I guess... Because, look, let's face it, being an educator or a student in 2024 is not always easy. You have to find ways to blow off steam and distract yourself. And I suppose for you, it's music, right?
It is. Just not to go too off on a tangent here, I feel blessed. I've always been involved in music.
Yeah.
I had the privilege and honor to play my original music at the Grand Ole Opry. Back in 1994, 96, I believe. And so that led to other business opportunities for myself, and which allowed me to do the type of work that I do now.
See how humble he is? Like, he kind of just said that nonchalantly, like, I played my music at the Grand Ole Opry. And yeah, as in that Grand Ole Opry. And I know you don't want to, we don't want to dwell on it because we're here to talk about New Frontiers Public Schools. But I just think it's really cool how you're able to do that, and it's something you should be very proud of.
Thank you. I am, and as a singer songwriter, and you can find all my music. It won't be under Alfredo Segura.
Okay.
I do have a stage name. That's
okay.
AJ Shore, and that you can find it on all social media platforms.
Have your students or your administrators ever pressed you into song while you were at the campuses, or does that ever happen? You ever bring the guitar with you?
Not early on. I used to for kiddos, but not anymore.
Okay,
but, it's always fun. It's always fun. If I may, just a couple of things. We're talking about the district at New Frontiers. We do have 3 campuses. We have the Imelda Davis Early College High School, and that is in partnership with San Antonio College.
Okay.
The very specific tracks that we have there, or pathways, is we want to make sure that we're setting our students for success in 3 different avenues. One, as an educator, we have a shortage of educators out there, and so we certainly want to push them, those students that feel that calling, to educate others. So we have an educator platform or pathway. Cybersecurity is another one, and then nursing. So San Antonio College has a very, very good nursing program. Those are the 3 pathways at that particular early college high school. We do much more than that, but those are the ones that we're known for.
Yeah.
At the Frank L. Matla Early College High School, that one is located at Palo Alto. That one we have over 150 course offerings, I believe. So that's our very first one. That's our kind of what I like to say our bread and butter.
Yeah.
And so that one has, again, over 150 course offering. We're very proud of that. We actually have alumni now that come back and tell their success stories.
Yeah.
And then our earliest one, or our newest one, is the Greg A. Garcia Intermediate. So that one is a 6 through 8. It is 9550 South Zarzamora, which is right there by not only Palo Alto, but also Texas A&M San Antonio, right across, 410, I believe.
Very good. So our friend Inga Cotton is on here saying, hello, Alfredo. Thank you for all you do
Hey, Inga.
to educate children in San Antonio. I know you know Inga. Inga sat in the chair with me, in the car with me not too long ago. And those of you in the charter school universe in San Antonio, I'm finding out, are a very close-knit group. You guys look after each other. You help. I mean, as you can see, you root each other on.
We do. I think, this is not just a profession in itself, it's a calling, right? And we believe that if we can change, there's a little saying that we have here at New Frontiers that we believe, we're changing kiddos one generation at a time. And so we're making that impact one generation at a time. And I think when we put all of us together, not to be cliche, but all of us together, that's the whole thing about it takes a village to really, educate people.
And like you said, the work you do today, you might not see results for decades.
Yeah.
But they're generations, as you just said. So pretty interesting. Okay, so maybe there's a parent out there watching this, or a student, or the sibling of a student, and is liking what they're hearing. Enrollment-wise, you still have room for more kiddos. How does that work?
Absolutely. Now, enrollment is going very quickly. So if you're listening to this and are interested, you can go to our website at www.newfrontierspublicschools.org, or you can actually call us at our central office, 210-519-3900, if you have very, very specific questions. And just talk to one of us. If not, I would encourage you to just take a site visit. We would love to show you around in the actual campuses. Note that our concentration, because we're early college, we are, once again, at a college. And so we share not only whatever that they have there. For example, let's say your student or our student, your child wants to take advantage of the natatorium. It's right there. So very, very neat.
But I think it's so cool that they get access or exposure to a college campus at that age, as opposed to leaving high school and in some cases maybe showing up to a college campus for the first time. It can be so intimidating as it is, but they're already getting that at a younger age and everything, so that's super cool.
And one of the things that we like to make sure is that that they do have their IDs, because after all, they are high school kids.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, they do mingle very well.
It's one part of college life I do remember and everything, and the fun times were had by all. What else, just professionally, would you like to do, or anything on your professional career bucket list that you'd still like to do with New Frontier Public Schools or elsewhere?
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of growth and potential. We are very small by design, and although we've been in operations for 26 years, we've been very, very deliberate. One thing that I'd like to say to the community is, because we've been here 26 years, we want to be in collaboration with ISDs. We're not here to take over the world, nor do we want to do that. We are here because, again, going back to my statement, that I think collaboratively, if we want to make an impact, thus the 60 by 30 plan, and educate and get our workforce trained in the right areas, then we're going to have to do that collectively.
Yeah, but it's clear there's a place for you. Like you said, you're not trying to take over the Northside ISDs or SAISDs or whatever, but that there's a place for you and a purpose for what you guys are doing.
I think there is a very deliberate place for all of us. To educate students the way that they want to. I think we've missed opportunities in the past where we think maybe one size fits all. And again, we're living now at a new age where parents have a choice.
Right. You took the words right out of my mouth. That they have a choice, and that they know there are other options out there if they're feeling helpless.
Absolutely.
Or stuck, if you will, that there are places. So.
Absolutely.
Great. Okay. Well, we are planning in the future, hopefully, to have maybe a student here or other people to help kind of spread the message of New Frontiers Public Schools and living, breathing proof of what is possible and what you guys have done. So I'm thrilled that you were here. Thank you for giving us a little peek into your musical career as well.
Yeah,
I know he's very modest. He doesn't want to brag, but I know where your heart is with that and with newfrontierspublicschools.org. If you want to find out more or get this to somebody who would like to find out more, direct them to that website. So always great to see you, sir.
Thank you, Ernie. We'll see you.
Alfredo Segura, Jr., New Frontiers Public Schools. There you have it. We love our educators for sure. This is another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm and Integrity Roofing and Siding. We'll be back very soon with another episode right here. So take care, be safe, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.